Hi, it's Samurai Laptop Magazine, and we're going to take a quick look at Google's Windows 8 search app. So once we open this up, you'll see that we've come to what looks like a standard search screen, and it opens a search window. And if we go back to home here, you'll see it looks a lot like the home page of Google. You can do searches from here, but you can also, interestingly, go into a little applications menu, which we'll check out first, that shows you a whole slew of Google apps. Now, these are not really running as native apps here on Windows 8, because if I go into the Gmail, for example, it's loading up my Gmail in this window, but it's really opening it in a browser. This window is a browser. Now, what browser is it? That's the interesting thing. It's actually a version of, or a port of, a rebadge of the IE10 that is already installed in the system. So Google has incorporated Internet Explorer into its app, but you can't see that it's Internet Explorer. You just know it if you go to a site that shows you what browser am I running its IE10. So obviously these are all things that you would expect. In fact, if you go into YouTube, you'll get an interesting error message that says you need Adobe Flash, which IE10 for Metro, or otherwise known as Windows 8 interface, doesn't have Flash, but IE10 on the desktop does. But interestingly, if we search for a YouTube video, we can actually run it. So if we search and then we click on, and we click to run it, let's say we do a video search here for Iron Man 3, and we open up the trailer that opens up on the YouTube web page, it will actually run in this window. So you see it's totally running just fine. Now we want to stop this, but that shows you that in fact if you get to it the right way, you can play your videos. So fully functional search opens within this window, which is a huge improvement over the Bing app. So just to remind you what that's like if you haven't seen it, we go into the Bing search app here, which comes standard on all Windows 8 computers, and you'll notice that the Bing app looks very pretty, but as soon as you start to search for something, you get the results in this window, and then, okay, let's click and see one. Hey, where did we just go? We ended up back in Internet Explorer, which is a completely separate app. So now if we hit the back button to get back to our results, hey, it doesn't work. The only way to get back to our results is to go back to Bing, to switch apps to get back to our results, which is extremely lame. But Google has solved this problem, instantly making their app a lot better than Bing's, because when you go into Google, you can then, of course, view all the results within the app, and the back button takes you back within the app. No app switching. Now, another really neat feature is that this fully supports Google's voice search. Bing has nothing like this on Windows 8. So I hit voice search. Whoop. So Google fully supports voice search. There's nothing like this in Bing for Windows 8, but this is a lot like what you'll see on tablets like the Google Nexus 7 or other phones if you use the voice search. It doesn't do voice actions like sending email, but it does voice search, which means sometimes it not only gives you results, but it gives you direct answers. So, for example, let me ask it some questions. How tall is the Empire State Building? Now you're going to see
Empire State Building is 1,454 feet tall.
So you see over here that it's actually given me a little card here with a picture. It's given me some more information here, and it read me the answer to my question. Awesome. It also knows several other pieces of information about famous people, and it can also give us maps. So let's try some of those things. Who is the manager of the New York Yankees?
New York Yankees' manager is Joe Girardi.
So you see, it gave me information about him, it gives me related people, it read the answer to me. This is a card answer. If it doesn't have it in its knowledge base of cards, which is relatively small, it will just give me search results as if I typed in a search query for anything. But it also can give me some other stuff, such as directions. So let's try that. How do I get to Times Square?
Here is a map of Theater District, Times Square, New York.
So there it took a little extra by giving me the theater district, but it does direct you to Google Maps to get around. There I can ask it some other questions like math questions. What is the square root of 9?
Square root 9 is 3.
So there you go. That was a pretty easy question, but it pops with the calculator and it reads me my answer. Fantastic. I can also ask it, certain pieces of trivia. Let's try that. How old is Lucy Liu?
Lucy Liu is 43 years old.
See, it knows things about certain famous people, about certain famous places. It has directions, and it can pop up all of this just from you asking. So, really cool voice search capabilities that you can't get elsewhere. And of course, here you have this button which will sort of show you in a pane here your search history. And finally, we have to answer the question, what happens when we dock this app? So, as you know, in Windows 8, you can dock apps. So, if you're running anything in the primary space, let's say it's your desktop, or it could be the weather, or whatever, you can now take Google Search, take it, and dock it over here to the right. You can go so let's say you have something else open, and you can take Google Search and it can dock over to the right here, and you have your results right here, and then should you want to see them, well, it'll open in this window, which is a little bit clunky because the browser part of it is not scaling to be in the dock. By the way, this also works with watching those YouTube videos, so you could actually have the little trailer running in the dock, which is kind of cool. So, for example, this, of course, I guess would happen with IE10 also, since this really is IE10. But you can see that there it is, and you could effectively run this video here while you're doing something else in another app. So lots of really neat stuff: voice search, integration with apps, dockability, browser is built in unlike Bing in Google Search for Windows 8.